Are you ready to feel and look younger? Feeling wired, tired, and overwhelmed? Younger with Dr. Robin Benson will help you turn back the clock, feel better, look sexier, improve your brain power, and activate your younger DNA potential. Welcome to Younger with the latest from science and top health experts worldwide. Here is your host, Dr. Robin Benson.
Presenter today, Anil Gupta. He's a world-renowned relationship expert, best-selling author, and transformational speaker known as the Love Doctor. That's how I know him, as the Love Doctor. So with decades of experience helping individuals and couples break through blocks, rediscover connection, and elevate every area of life, Anil has guided thousands, including celebrities and Fortune 500 leaders, toward deeper love and lasting fulfillment. There's so much more I can say, but I just want to bring him to you all right now with me. And I just want to give a background story. About 3 weeks ago, I was at the Biohack conference in Austin, and there was an after hours gathering, and I was walking in the garden, and there was Dr. Love. I saw this man with a black shirt on and this big heart, and we just had this beautiful connection that lasted a long time, and I brought all my friends to him, and I'm bringing him to you today. So welcome, Mr. Wonderful Love Doctor. How are you?
Oh, great. And you know, life is about relationships, and you can create a relationship in minutes. Who you're being, how you're showing up, and your vibrational energy, and you radiate love. So it was such a joy.
Such a joy. And of course I asked you, so tell me about you, Mr. Love Doctor. Tell me about you. So tell us about how you got that name and your story. You have quite a profound story of transformation that a lot of us are on a huge upgrade right now. We're all ready to let go of the old and bring in a new story.
Yeah, and you know, we're great at creating stories, and you know, we were just having a discussion, and the story changes, you know, and what if you could clean the slate and create a brand new destiny? Because at the end of the day, the past doesn't make any difference. It's gone. You know, if you turn up at, say, New York Airport, JFK, and say, hey, I booked a flight to London, they don't ask you, hey, Dr. Benson, how did you get here? Tell me how you... They don't care.
Uh-huh.
And it doesn't matter where you've been, how you've been, and how you got there. You're there now. What's the decision you're going to make? What's the longevity program that you're going to take that will which will add more years to your life and more life to your years? You know, it's incumbent on us to wake up to the fact that we're responsible for our own health, and we need to get facilitators to help us make the right decisions. And you're one of them.
It's so fun. It's the whole world of regenerative medicine. I mean, to say yes to a fresh start, a new beginning. That's a lot of what we're doing with IVs and injection therapies. But then there's a storyline within everyone's body, and with their cells, right? And traumas that we hold in our body. And love is really important. Love is everything, right? And to return to love and to love self, and how that expression in one's being, how that affects all relationships.
You know, we're the common denominator. And here's a simple test. Look in a mirror
Mhm.
and ask yourself, do I love myself? Do I really love myself? What's there not to love? What is it that I need to give up? What don't I love about myself? That's the true test.
It is a true test. And then there's that mind, right? That inner roommate that we all have, that's dictating and taking so much oxygen out of a really joyous life, right? I mean, so many people that just rules so much of their earth experience.
You know, you're so right. I ask people, where's the most expensive real estate in the world? And where are you from, Dr. Benson?
I'm originally from Hamilton, New York, upstate New York.
And where are you now?
And now I'm in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Okay, so the most expensive real estate is in Santa Fe, and they say, "Oh, how could that be?" Said, "Well, the most expensive real estate is in between your ears." You
Hmm.
know, which if you had a beautiful apartment in, say, Manhattan, would you rent it out free to people you didn't like? Of course not. but you're renting out space in here rent free, and they don't even know that they're in that space. And it doesn't make sense. It just does not make sense. So remove the rent-free renters and just put in beautiful thoughts, beautiful people, beautiful friendships. And it makes all the difference. It makes the difference. It's a choice.
Yeah. It's tough for a lot of people. I do a lot of neuro testing, neurotransmitter testing, and just seeing, and hormones, and just seeing how many people are really high cortisol, norepinephrine, dopamine is really low, serotonin's really low, right? And it's no wonder. So that real estate is just being taken over by all these chemical reactions in the body. So tell us more about how we can. So I know you've got the happiness systems. You wrote a book about happiness. What are some of the best ways that we can really have a better relationship with this earth walk?
So I don't believe in better relationships. I believe in outstanding relationships.
I love
So
that. I'm
let me
all
give
in.
you an example. So I say, hey, Dr. Benson, hang on, what's going on here?
I'm
She's
shedding
getting
layers
hot.
already. I don't want that coat on any longer.
So if I said to you, hey, Dr. Benson, can you cut off your head and give it to me, knowing that you'll die in, 1 second, you'd never do that, would you? It's a hell no. That's a rule that you have, and it's a good rule. You should keep it.
Mm.
Now, Robin, what if you had the same rule for your happiness? Under no circumstances would you give your head away. Under no circumstances would you give your happiness away. But people do in an instant. Oh, he said that. She said that. They did that to me. Let it go. Don't give your happiness away.
Yeah.
This one thing will make the difference that makes the difference.
Yeah. And we do again and again and again. And it's, how much of it is that primal brain, we know about, right? The amygdala, that's ancestral stuff that's hanging out there, and then everything that's happened in our past and all of our traumas. I mean, it takes some work. So you're just saying you get to choose in every moment to be
Yeah.
miserable, to choose love, or choose fear.
So it's simple, but it's not easy.
No.
It's like, well, when you go to the gym, you're not going to lift 100 pounds immediately. You've got to start with 10, 20, 30, 40, build it up. It's a muscle. So you have to exercise this muscle. We every time we say, oh, I have trauma, I have PTSD, this happened to me, you're creating a neural pathway, gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And then as human beings, we love to be right, and we love to be right about being right. So we'll fabricate circumstances to prove ourselves to be right. And we're always right.
Yeah. So this is all, you wrote a book called Immediate Happiness. Was that your first book or your second book?
That's my first book. The next book is called The Blueprint for Love.
Oh, love it. Wow. Before we get in, I just think your story is pretty wow. And you shared it with me when we met in Austin. But in 2008, right, you were can you just share that? Because a lot of people can relate. I mean, this is a very intense time that we're living in, and people are wondering, some of the people on my tables are like, what am I here for? I mean, it's that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was November. It was a Friday, and I was at an event, and I had to go up and tell my wife some bad news. I said, "Honey, there's some really bad news I have to tell you." She said, "What is it?" I said, I've lost everything on in the stock market, real estate. We've lost the house, the car, the student funds that we've saved up, everything." And Robin, she looked up at me and she smiled, and I thought, hang on, she probably didn't hear what I said. I said, "Honey, did you hear what I said?" She said, "Yes, I did. I thought it was something serious." I said, "Honey, what do you mean?" She said, "Honey, I thought you were dying. I thought you had cancer because you've been behaving strangely. I don't care about the money." And Robin, I thought, this is not right.
Mhm.
This is not the story I've been brought up on.
Mhm.
I said, "Honey, I thought you wanted money." She said, "Honey, I've never asked you for money, have I?" And I thought, wow, she didn't, but I'd never bothered to ask her. She said, "All I wanted was to be with you, and you haven't lost it all. You still have me, you still have the kids, and we'll sleep in the streets if we have to."
Hmm.
That's so beautiful. When you have someone like that, it's like rocket fuel. So I started doing events, 5 people, 10, 15, 100, 500, 10,000 people, because I got out of my own way and I became a billionaire. And there's a fast way. I maybe I should share it. There's a fast way to become a billionaire. So I stopped using the US currency. I started using the currency of love, friendship, making a difference, generosity, kindness, acceptance. And becoming a billionaire was easy. Now I'm working on being a trillionaire because everything is ours. I go to the ocean, I say, this ocean belongs to me. Go to the mountains, this mountain belongs to me. This cloud system belongs to me. This land belongs to me. Who's going to dispute it? It's all up here.
I freaking love that. So we all are can be billionaires if we choose to, right? I mean, those stories can run our lives for the rest of our lives, so we can tap into our heart, tap into the power of now and the moments. And like you mentioned, the oceans and the mountains, and my God, there's so much bliss and beauty around us, despite all the stuff that's a little nuts, a little crazy going on in the world too, right? It's that's the I love that billionaire mindset of living from the currency of love. We're all billionaires.
Yeah. Yeah. We have so much, but we focus on the stuff that doesn't serve us. And you know, the biggest mistake. So here, let me ask you a question. What do you call a deaf gorilla?
A death gorilla.
Anything you like. Okay. He can't hear you. But if I asked you the same question 10 times, you'd say, Anil, this is so boring. Stop it.
Yeah.
But as human beings, we tell the same story of what happened to us 100 times, 1,000 times, but we never get sick of it. When would now be a good time to say, well, you know what? I'm sick of this story. I'm going to create a new one. We're in charge.
We are in charge. We are all creators, right? We get to wake up to what we're creating. Are we creating hell or are we going to
Yeah.
create joy in any minute? Yeah. I think that's so important. And then just the power of forgiveness. We were talking about that before we went live today. Like, you talk about that. Like, why is it so difficult for people to forgive
You
themselves
know,
primarily, right? I think in the end.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So forgiveness is the express pathway to freedom. The quality of your life is dependent upon the depth and authenticity of the forgiveness you extend to yourself and to others. The reason people don't or can't forgive is because they think the other person will win. It's got nothing to do with the other person. They're holding on to something. They are being righteous. They have rules. They have expectations. But at the end of the day, and you know this, it causes illness. And the other person may not even know you have a grudge or you're upset. It's ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous.
And just from a health perspective, the erosion that happens inside, you can look good on the outside, but all that poison that you're carrying for self and others is just wow, it's like a terminal illness is happening inside you until you choose differently. And just we know from heart math and just reading all the stuff on you, I've really enjoyed reading and getting into the immediate happiness book a bit,
Mhm.
just how quickly, even if you've been running a certain pattern for 1 decade, 2 decades, three, in any moment you can shift. You can shift your storyline. You can allow that billionaire guidance to run your life from your heart.
Yeah. And can I show you a rapid way to do that?
I would love it.
Okay. So most people think they're seeking happiness, but we're actually seeking a feeling of fulfillment. See, everything that we do for a feeling. You know, we have a car, a nice meal, a house for the feeling it gives us. So we're looking for a feeling of fulfillment, which is internal, happiness is external. And there's a formula. Fulfillment is equal to G times G times G. The first G is you have to be grateful for what you have
Mhm.
and don't focus on what you don't have. So how many times do you think your heart has beaten to date?
Oh God. Trillion.
Give me a number.
Trillion.
It's 2 billion.
2 billion.
Yeah.
Wow.
2 billion. And it's not just a heart. It's not just a pump. There's four chambers in it. Then they have to be, synchronized.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at your hands,
Mm-hmm.
when was the last time you thanked them? What have they done for you?
Wow.
Everything. Imagine injecting a patient without them.
Mm-hmm.
Awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not possible. Yeah. Amazing what has happened through these hands.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Amazing.
caress your
And then I
beautiful
can't even take
daughter.
credit for most of it. When I let go and live God, it's like live from my heart. That's the real blessing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Your heart, your liver, your eyes, your kidneys, your skin, your blood vessels, everything. The air that we breathe is free. Imagine if it was metered. And we can go outside. We have total freedom. So that's be grateful for what you have. The second G is you have to give your time, your attention, your love, your joy, your gift, your money. Give it away, not wanting anything back. And the third G is you have to grow emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, and financially. Now, whenever you're not feeling your normal self, you're feeling down, one of those three G's has dropped below the rest. All you have to do is work out which one it is and then just fill that up. So if it's, you know, emotional, something emotional happened, you say, oh, you know what? So and so said that to me, I feel bad. That's what I need to lift up. So everything lifts up. That way you don't get into overwhelm.
That's a great life-changing exercise you could do every day in a couple seconds, right?
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
do one right now. What's your lowest G?
out of those, gratitude, giving, and growing, I think I could be even more grateful.
Okay. So give me some things you're grateful for.
I am so incredibly grateful for my team here at Santa Fe Soul. I am so in love with the sun. Like I have a relationship with the sun like I've never had before. Like, oh my God, where would we be as a human species without the sun? I'm
You have a
so
long way to go. Look.
right. Um, I'm so grateful for my husband. I'm so grateful for my girlfriends. I have so many sisters, like heart sisters, my two children. I'm so grateful for mornings. I love mornings, waking up in the morning. So it's really a long list.
Okay. How do you feel?
I feel great. No, I could feel that change my vibration. Just,
Isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And you have a gift. And when you speak, people listen. And how many lives have you changed? It's not just one life, it's that family, the community. We never know how we've impacted so many lives in so many ways.
Yeah, it's so true. The ripples of effect, right? And I just know when my vibration's low, if I get overwhelmed, I'm not putting out the best me, right? And that doesn't work well ever. Never feels good. No. And just the victimization that a lot of us can fall into. Wow. Or just the level of addictions. There's so many, whether it's alcohol, drugs, porn, it's a surrogate, right? For someone living in their living their calling or living in their heart. Yeah.
Yeah, the people are just leading mediocre lives. A lot of people die at 25 and they're not buried till 75 because they just flatlining all the way through.
Wow. Yeah. I love that Carl Jung saying like, it's time to die before we die. To die of all the legacy of story and with gratitude, right? It's who we are, it's who we've created. But then that next level, then that's like the frequency. What is that song called? The highest frequency is love. There's so many songs about love, but it's true. Like, where do we feel the best? Where sometimes it's being in nature. You just feel that utmost gratitude for Mother Nature, and then with our loved ones. And yet
Yeah.
this is a world where there's more social isolation than ever before. We're glued to our phones.
Did you know that your body is naturally designed to heal itself? Did you know that with the right biohacks, you can have the advantage of turning back the clock and feel younger than you did 20 years ago? In Dr. Robin Benson's free fast class, she will teach you the top 5 leading edge treatments that will help you grow biologically younger, regain quality of life, prevent disease, and maintain a strong immune system. So go to top5regen.com for a 20-minute fast class and begin your own path to accelerating and supporting your natural birthright of regeneration. That's regen.com to discover the keys to live your best life in the body you've always dreamed of.
Yeah.
So when we're born, we are filled with love. And as life goes on, that diminishes and diminishes and diminishes. We go to school. Back home, we would get, cheers for anything that we did. We poop, we peed. Oh my God, he peed, he pooped. Then it gets less and less. He gets less attention. He gets less love. And then suddenly he has to perform to get acclaim. He has to do something in order to get attention. So he'll play up. He'll be successful. He'll be a scholar. He'll play sports, or he'll do something to get the attention. And then it becomes transactional. I have a grandson. He must get 500 hugs and kisses a day. But if you look at 7, 8-year-olds, it's down to 10, 5. It's horrible, and it's not the way it's supposed to be.
This is so true. And then we try to find that in so many different ways. I'm also reminded when we met, I brought a new friend up to you, and single and yet dating and finding it really difficult. So there are a lot of single people out there. What's your advice to them in terms of seeking a new partner? I love what you
Okay.
said to him, but I just would love for you to share with
Okay.
everybody listening here.
So before you seek a partner, you have to work on yourself. You have to get rid of, stuff from the past. And there are 3 things you have to work on. Any partner that you choose must have 3 traits. Number 1 is integrity. 2, they must be loving. 3, they have to be healthy, emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, and financially. Now, if you were selling your house, you wouldn't just put it on the market. You would clean it up, you would tidy it up, you get the inspection, you'd increase the curb appeal, blah, blah, blah. So you have to be integrous, you have to be loving, you have to be healthy. And that way, when you are those 3 things, people will come to you because your vibrational energy will change. You don't have to look for them. So a lot of people are, dating, 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 but if they haven't fixed the foundation, they're going to get the same results. And do you know what the failure rate is?
What is the failure rate?
So every single person out there, it's 100% fail rate. And most people fall into a relationship because they have a few drinks, they meet someone, and then, 3, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years later, they say, oh, he's not for me, she's not for me. So before you buy a house, you do your due diligence, location, price, valuation, inspection, schools, all that stuff. But when we get into a relationship, we do none of that. So people say yes to a relationship until it becomes a no, but it has to be no until it's yes. Collect the information, collect the data, and then make an informed choice. Then you get a 95% success rate. No trauma, no baggage. My daughter used it. First boyfriend she married, and he's an amazing soul, amazing soul.
Wow.
And there's no doubt that that relationship will last forever.
And she did the personal work, and she was
Yeah,
healthy, and she attracted that. It
yeah.
seems so simple. And
It's
yet,
simple, but it's not easy,
yeah,
because we have faults. We beat ourselves up. We sabotage. A lot of people sabotage their relationships. They don't feel worthy. They don't feel good enough. They don't feel they belong. They don't feel lovable. They, all sorts of things. But it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah. And you're not saying perfection, because no one's like in anyone who's like wanting to seek a partner right now. Yeah, you want to have grown, you want to have worked on yourself, but we rarely ever perfect, but you just, want to put yourself out there, and you have your wounds, right? You have your, but that doesn't have to come out in the conversation right away. Sometimes there's just so much that people want to share personally about themselves and talk about their challenges. So that comes in the growth part of a relationship, right? I mean, that's there.
Well, I call it ABCD. Always be collecting data. So the first thing is don't date.
Don't what?
Date.
Don't date.
Okay, so when people date, they dress up, they're on best performance. Each person is the best version of themselves. So they just want to get to the next level, next level. So you're not really seeing the authentic them. But if you go for a coffee, you go for a walk, you go for a hike, you do something fun, that's not a date. That's a data collecting situation where you find out how are they, how do they show up, how do they interact with people, are they focused on me, or are they focused on someone else? So when you date, there are two actors on stage, but when you meet someone and get to know them beforehand, like your friends, your best friends, it's proximity. You got to know them first, and then all of a sudden they were friends. That's the way it's supposed to be. Collect the data, and there are some people you don't want to be friends with because you collected the data. Their behavior wasn't integrous.
Mhm. Is that part of what you talk about, is the relationship score?
So the relationship score, so if I asked you, what's your relationship score with your daughter? 10 being the best, 0 being the worst. What would you give me?
Oh gosh, right now, I would have to say this is about a 9.5, almost
Great.
10. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
right now, absolutely incredible.
Beautiful. Now, what if it was a 1?
Yeah.
Okay. You see, your whole physiology changed.
Yep.
So the beautiful thing about the relationship score is this. If you say it's 1 to me, I would ask you a question. What would make it a 2? What would make it a 3? What would make it a 5? What would make it a 9? And then you can build up to it. I've gone from 0 to 10 in 20 minutes.
Mhm.
All it is BS. Do you know what BS is?
Oh, you can go from 1 to 10 in a minute because it's all the BS in your real estate in your head.
Yeah, so what is BS?
Um, I want to say bullshit, but belief systems probably.
Yes,
Really?
belief
Belief
system.
systems?
Yeah,
Which
what
is
you
a lot of
believe.
bullshit.
True, true.
Yeah.
If you believe that your partner doesn't love you, you're going to make it happen. There he goes. If he loved me, he'd have done this. He'd have done this, but he didn't do it. He didn't call me back. He didn't hold my hand. Whatever. So
What
we're in
about
charge.
what about when you're, there's so much out in the world about like narcissistic people, and some of my friends are involved with narcissistic partners, and how do you work with someone like that? That's really challenging, that's got a big trauma history and acting out.
Well, this is where ABCD comes in. You filter these people out. Okay.
After
So,
that.
for example, I'm on a dating app, and on the dating app, I write, I love dogs. Okay. And, I meet you and you want to impress me. You don't really like dogs, but you're going to lie to me. Okay. So pretend you're a person that wants to get to know me. You don't like dogs, but you say you like dogs just to please me. Okay. Hey, Robin, do you like dogs?
I love dogs.
Really? What's your favorite dog?
Irish setter.
Okay. And do you have a photo of it?
I don't right now. That's one of the first dogs we had growing up in my family.
Uh-huh.
Such a
Okay. How many dogs
beautiful,
have you owned?
probably about 6.
Okay. So end of role play. What data have I already collected?
that I like dogs,
Yeah,
that
I
lights me up.
tested you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at your face, I looked at your physiology, and I asked you pertinent questions. Okay, the fact you don't have a photo, that sort of put me off because normally you'd say, "Hey, here's my grandson, here's my son, here's my daughter." But then I asked you, what type of dog, you knew immediately. Then I said, "How many dogs have you had?" Then you said me 6. I said, "Okay." So always collect data and look for alignment. They say something and look for proof. That
Mhm.
way, they're telling the truth. Oh, I'm going through a divorce. I'm divorced. Don't believe them. Get proof. There's too much at stake. This is your life. Don't be nice, 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 nice. Don't be weak. Just say, "Hey, look, I'm curious. When did the divorce go through?" Yeah,
Good questions. So what is the
really.
one mindset shift? So you're talking about our belief systems, but the one mindset shift that they can open the door to real lasting love
Okay.
in your work with
So
singles.
the common thing they say to me is this, Neil, all the married men are taken
Hmm.
or gay. There's no single men here. And I'm in New York, I'm in Boston, I'm in LA. But Robin, if you wanted to go fishing for bass, you would go where the bass fish are. But these people are looking in the wrong places. It's not nightclubs, it's not discos, it's not bars that you want to meet someone. You want to meet them where they hang out. Where do good people hang out? They hang out maybe at voluntary organizations, church funds, Rotary clubs, Kiwanis. Where do you look for quality people? In pickleball, country clubs, social clubs, tennis clubs, organizations, Chamber of Commerce. You've got to go out there and meet people and get to know them. And it happens organically. You'll just meet someone and you'll become friends and you think, "Oh, hang on a minute. They're integrous, they're loving, they're healthy."
Hmm.
But people are trying dating. They say, "Oh, he looks good, she looks great," but they're focusing on the wrong thing. And when you meet someone that you feel very comfortable with, all of a sudden they become more beautiful because you're accepting them as they are. You're not looking at superficial stuff.
Hmm. Yeah. I know you travel the world and you're on big, big stages. And what I really loved is like in a very short period of time talking to you, like within the first few minutes, I was like captivated. Like how you can make a subject like relationships, like so it simplify it, right? We almost like there's thousands of books and there's all kinds of retreats and and a lot of it's that's what I love about you, Dr. Love. I love how it's just like so simple and we make it so difficult.
We do. And, it's sad because, you become so successful in whatever you're doing, but then you're not fulfilled at home. You're not fulfilled with your kids, with your parents, with your spouse, with your friends. And that takes away all the joy from life. It really does.
Yeah. And I know you spent time with the Dalai Lama, Mike Tyson, all kinds of amazing people that many of us know. What do you think is universal about love? What if just in all those circles that you're in, what is the common denominator of all the people on the planet, no matter what status you're from?
So it's the definition you have.
Mhm.
Okay, if you accept the person as they are, and that's what we do with friends. We have friends, we know they're not perfect, but we accept them, we don't judge them, we don't criticize them, and we accept them. But people don't accept other people, they don't accept themselves. So I think the biggest thing is self-love.
It
It's
is.
huge.
Yeah. And there's so many ways to come home to that.
Yeah. There's too much at stake. We're so blessed to be born in this beautiful world. We start off beautifully. As soon as we're born, we bring so much joy to so many people. And then all of a sudden, things change. And then we get in our head. That's the problem. You know, you have to stay in your heart. Once you get in your head, you're dead.
This is true. This is really true. Do you have like top three things that you do or recommend to really help people? Is it a meditation practice? Is it some type of biohacking? I think, is there anything else other than what are some of your top ones that you recommend to all your audiences to do? I know you've shared a few here, but that really help because a lot of times people can have epiphanies, they have a great week, and then they're back. They awaken and then they go back into a dark space.
Yeah. So imagine you come home late at night and that your house is in complete darkness. You would go in and turn on the light, correct?
Hmm.
Would you go in and remove the darkness? That's what people do in life.
Hmm.
They try and remove the negativity. So this is the one thing I tell people: be the light, be the best version of you, be so amazing you cannot be ignored, and the darkness will disappear.
Because you remove something and then there's another event happens in your life and then another one and then it just accumulates and then it becomes like dis-ease and then it affects your emotional state. Wow, I love that. That's such a great wisdom bomb here, like many you've shared.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
And, when I was suicidal, I started to give. And I realized in the moment you give authentically, all your pain and suffering disappears immediately.
That's the
It's
absolute
just a
best
muscle.
antidote, right? To the worst case experience that you're going through is to give. That's so true. So true. So what lights you up most? Like it sounds like you live a pretty joyous existence all the time, but what are you most excited about right now?
So my book, that's goes through all the formulas, all the ratios, all the distinctions, and also just helping people. It's the greatest thing. And you know that any patient who comes in front of you, their lives are going to be transformed. Same with me. Anyone who comes in front of me, I can change their lives. And I have a 3 foot rule. Anyone who comes within 3 feet of me, I'm going to say something to them. I'm going to compliment them, say something nice, something funny, just something, because you never know what people are going through, and in that moment, you could change their lives. We just have to get out of our own way. We're not that important, and what other people think of us is none of our business.
Hmm. This is true. Yeah. Wow. One more question. I mean, we could talk forever, but I'm just wondering, like now, what, 20 years? You've spent almost 20 years. You've been living your passion. You were an optometrist, is that correct?
That's correct.
And then you had made lots of investments, lost it all. Did you lose your practice too?
Well, we sold the practice because it was in London. I couldn't have the practice here in the USA. So we sold the practice in 2002, something around that, 2003 or four. So then we spent all our time here just focusing on serving other people. There's nothing better.
Hmm. So you're serving, I'm just really curious about this optometrist life that you had, because I mean
Mhm.
that led you to where you are, right? You love being with your clients, your patients. But I'm just curious, like in this whole about the eyes. What did you learn about the eyes in love?
So nothing really.
Nothing.
Yeah. I mean, my wife loves my eyes, but I mean, you have beautiful eyes, but people don't have eye contact. If you're walking down the street, they don't look at you, they don't eye contact you. When you're speaking, there's so little eye contact because people are so fearful. If I have eye contact with you, she's going to see through me. She's going to know. I'm not going to do that. But everything is so beautiful. The eyes, the hands, the skin, everything is so perfect. And one thing that, and I tell you how I got to do what I got to do. At the end of the exam, people would tell me a problem, and I'd say, "Hey, why don't you try this?" And they come back and said, "Oh, I tried that. That was amazing." I thought, of course, it's obvious. But I realized later that it was obvious to me. It wasn't obvious to them. And whenever this happens in life, if you find something so easy, other people find hard, that means you're a genius in that field. So awareness is the master discipline I urge everyone to look at. Awareness gives you clarity, clarity gives you focus, focus gives you action, action gives you results, results gives you momentum, which gives you everything. You cannot be in love, you cannot be successful, you cannot be joyous without awareness. That's what we need.
Yeah. Awareness is consciousness too. Can you say those words for anyone who's listening that wants to hear that whole sequence?
I don't know if I can.
Oh,
I've never said it before.
you have
Awareness.
said, I love it.
And, Robin, that's the other thing. Laugh. Laugh at yourself. Laugh at silly things. People don't do that.
Right?
You see a kid, they'll laugh 500 times a day, but adults, no. So awareness gives you clarity. Clarity gives you focus. Focus gives you action. Action gives you results. Results gives you momentum. Momentum gives you everything.
Everything. Love it. Love it. Love it. You've got such a cool job. And it's obvious you got one of the best jobs on the planet because you live it through and through. Thank you so much for being with this younger audience. And that whole idea of what, the art and science of growing younger naturally. There's no better message than what Dr. Love is sharing with all of us right now. Do you have yeah, I know. I mean, like, I never wanted to leave our evening together. That was so much fun and all the conversations we had together. And here we are again. But just a final message that you would like to leave with everybody that's listening today.
Yeah. Be so amazing that you cannot be ignored. Just be the best version of you. That's it. It's that simple.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for your time, for
No,
your
thank you.
presence,
Thank
for
you.
your beautiful heart and your mission in the world. So, so grateful. Thank you.
No, thank you.
That was so fun. Loved it. Thank you. Thank you.
What did you think of today's show? Let us know when you write your review and subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher today. Receive your chance to win a VIP day, $10,000 value with Dr. Robin Benson. When you review and subscribe with your name, we enter you in a drawing for a VIP day at the Brain Optimization and Body Regeneration Studio in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Get ready to experience the latest science to feel and look younger in your body naturally.